7 years ago, my life was simple, ordinary, and, at least in my mind, content. I was married to Sarah, a woman I thought shared my dreams, someone I believed loved me the way I loved her. But one night, everything changed. I remember it vividly. The evening air was heavy with humidity, and we were sitting across from each other at the kitchen table. She stirred her tea absent-mindedly, her eyes distant. Then, without preamble, she said, "I wish you'd just disappear." The words hit me like a punch. I froze, unsure whether I had misheard her. But the expression on her face, the cold detachment in her voice, told me otherwise. There was no anger, no argument, just a quiet, final declaration of dismissal. I tried to reason, to plead, to find some sliver of what we had built over those 7 years. But it was pointless. Sarah had made her mind up. The intimacy, the warmth, the partnership. It was all gone, and with it, any remnant of the man I once knew myself to be. So I vanished, not physically at first, but mentally, emotionally. I stopped trying to please her, stopped engaging in arguments and the passive-aggressive games that had eroded our marriage. I left the house when she slept, returned late, focused on work, on building something of my own. But it wasn't just about disappearing from her life. It was about disappearing into a version of myself that she could never have imagined. I invested in skills, in experiences, in opportunities that stretched me further than comfort ever had. I traveled to cities I'd only read about, met people who challenged my worldview, and learned that the world beyond her small, dismissive gaze was vast and full of possibilities. Meanwhile, Sarah assumed I had crumbled, that the man she scorned had been destroyed by her rejection. She flaunted her freedom, laughed a little louder, moved through life as if my absence had given her an edge, a victory she could display proudly. 7 years passed like this, a slow, deliberate evolution of my life, while hers remained predictable, constrained, and oblivious. Then came the day I returned to our hometown for a business meeting, a casual, public appearance I had little intention of tying to my past. And that was when she saw me. The moment was electric. I was standing on the sidewalk outside a cafe, reviewing some papers for an upcoming project, when she froze across the street. Her mouth fell slightly open, her eyes widening in disbelief, and I could see the realization dawn slowly. The man she wished away no longer existed in the form she remembered. Her composure crumbled before my eyes, the life she had imagined for herself, free from me. Shattered instantly when faced with the truth, Sarah didn't move at first. She just stood there frozen, like someone caught in the headlights of their own misjudgments. The world she had built in my absence, her new apartment, her new circle of friends, her casual air of superiority, suddenly seemed fragile, hollow. I didn't approach her immediately. Part of me wanted to see how this moment would unfold naturally. She scanned the street as if searching for an escape, a lifeline that didn't exist. Her gaze landed on me again, and I noticed a tremor in her hand. That slight shake was enough to tell me that the years of assuming my disappearance had weakened me were dead wrong. Then she took a tentative step forward, as if gravity had shifted and drawn her unwillingly into the orbit of the life she had tried to erase. "Daniel," she whispered, barely audible over the traffic noise and distant chatter of pedestrians. I lifted my head and met her eyes directly, calm, controlled, stronger than she remembered. "Sarah," I said evenly, her lips parted as she searched for words, any words that could explain her absence, justify her betrayal, or somehow regain the man she had wished away. But words failed her. Behind her, a man, her new boyfriend, I assumed, noticed attention. He straightened, eyebrows furrowed, sensing the weight of unspoken history. He stepped closer, but I didn't flinch. There was no threat in him I hadn't already faced within myself. You're different," she stammered. "I mean, you've changed. You look successful." I allowed a faint smile. "There's a lot you didn't know, Sarah." Her gaze dropped briefly to the sidewalk, then flicked up to meet mine again, a mix of awe and fear in her eyes. The man she relied on for excitement and validation now seemed irrelevant, diminished by the sheer presence of someone she had underestimated for years. What have you been doing?" she asked finally, voice trembling with the kind of desperation only regret can produce. I leaned casually against a lamppost, letting silence speak for me. In that silence, she saw the truth. I had built a life without her, stronger, richer in every sense she had once dismissed. Her betrayal hadn't destroyed me. It had forced me to rise beyond the man she thought she could diminish. The man with her cleared his throat nervously. Sarah flinched, glancing between us. And for the first time, I saw uncertainty in her world. The illusion of control she had carried for years crumbled like sand slipping through fingers. "You've changed," she whispered again, more to herself than to me. And I didn't realize what I lost. Her words echoed across the street, but they no longer held power over me, because the man standing before her wasn't the one she left behind. He was the one who had survived, grown, and learned the value of self-worth in a way she never could. Sarah's world collapsed right there on the sidewalk. Her confidence, her new life, even her carefully curated self-image, all of it shattered in the quiet, unwavering presence of the man she had once wished gone. She tried to speak again, but this time her voice was barely audible. I never thought You never thought I'd survive without you?" I finished for her, letting the words hang in the air. There was no anger, no need to lash out, just the undeniable fact. I had not only survived, I had thrived. Her new companion shifted uneasily, sensing the tension, sensing the invisible weight of history and betrayal. I didn't need to say anything. The look I gave him was enough. Controlled, confident, untouchable. He glanced at Sarah, then away, understanding silently that she no longer held the authority she believed she had. For the first time, Sarah's eyes filled with real fear. Not of me, not of revenge, but the consequences of her own choices. She realized that the man she had discarded had never been weak, and her attempt to erase him from her life had only forced him to grow beyond her reach. You've done all this?" she whispered, gesturing vaguely to my surroundings, my composure, the aura I carried effortlessly. "All these years without me?" I nodded slowly. "Yes, Sarah. All these years without your interference, without your judgment, without your betrayal. And I can tell you this, I am better for it." Her lips trembled, and for a fleeting moment, I almost saw the woman I had loved. The one who laughed easily, who dreamed wildly, who once promised to stand by me. But the woman I saw now was gone, replaced by regret and desperation. I don't know what to say," she murmured, the weight of her own actions pressing down. "You don't need to say anything," I replied evenly. "This isn't about words. This is about truth. I lived my life while you chase illusions. I became stronger, happier, unstoppable. And you learned too late what you let go of." She fell silent, understanding fully that there would be no reconciliation, no easy escape, no second chance. Her family's pleas, her past authority over me, her new life, all meaningless against the person I had become. As she walked away, her head bowed, I felt no malice, no joy in seeing her broken, only peace. 7 years of absence, of building myself up from the ruins of betrayal, had culminated in this moment, and I knew one thing with absolute certainty. The man standing here today, resilient, strong, and unapologetically alive, was exactly the man she had tried to erase. And no amount of tears, apologies, or family pressure could ever change that. Sometimes, the best revenge isn't confrontation. It isn't showing off or humiliating them. It's living fully, thriving without them, and letting them witness the life they will never have again.